day, welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Fidelia Aguncha. The Nigerian army says it has killed several Boko Haram commanders and many of their foot soldiers in the ongoing operation against the insurgents in the northeast region of the country. According to the army, the operation was conducted in collaboration with the Nigerian Air Force. It says the operation was undertaken based on credible intelligence information on targeted Boko Haram hideouts. The 5 top Boko Haram commanders neutralized in the operation are Abu Dujana Mantahiru, a deputy to Boko Haram terrorist group Hizbah leader Manchari, Abdullahi Abu Sa'ad, and Goni Bamanga. As the world marks the International Day for the Victims of Enforced Disappearances, a group in Nigeria is calling for collaborative efforts to sustain peaceful coexistence and security in the country. The group, known as Report Injustice, Violence and Corrupt Practices Project, believes that enforced disappearance is used as a strategy to spread terror within a society.
The police has adopted some measures to curb the high rise in crime that involve missing person, injustice, and all form of violence against persons through intelligence-led policing, consultative partnership, community policing, optional usage, utilization of mega resources, zero tolerance for corruption, other related practices, moral and ethical reorientation, good welfare package and promotion of officers at when due, constant training and retraining of officers, prosecution of offenders in court. The police further employ other strategies in their fight against crime. This includes, among others, fingerprinting, a mark left behind a pattern of line which help to identify a criminal who has previous crime records.
As we mark this International Day, we need a collaborative effort between citizens, the private sector, and government agencies to sustain peaceful coexistence and our national peace and security. To this end today, we are developing a proactive approach to prevent and reduce the occurrence of human rights violation in our country, as we also today use this day to flag off our care center, which is going to be a platform to receive complaints from members of the public complaining about missing persons or those who have been victims of injustice, violence, and corrupt practices.
The National Orientation Agency want to advise Nigerians to please acquaint yourself with the freedom of information so that you will be able to get the information that you require. If there is an enforced disappearance, you have the right, armed with the freedom of information, to get information concerning that person from any organization, including the police.
The number of Nigerian pilgrims who have died at the current Hajj exercise has risen from 5 to 7. According to the chairman of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, Abdullahi Mohammed, the deceased all died of natural causes. Though the identities of the dead pilgrims were not disclosed, the chairman said the pilgrims were from Kwara, Kogi, Katsina, and Kaduna states respectively. The Benue State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, says 110,000 people have been displaced by flood in the state. According to the executive secretary of the agency, Boniface Otese, the affected communities include Achuse, Idiye, Wurukum Market, Jenebe, Industrial Layout, Demekbe, and Wadata Market, among others. Otese said in Achuse, 200 houses were affected with 5,125 persons displaced, while in Idiye, 217 houses were affected, while 5,200 persons were displaced. Governors from the southeast region of Nigeria have held a peace talk with the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. The meeting was also attended by other stakeholders of IPOB. Speaking to journalists after the meeting, chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum, David Umahi, who is also the governor of Ebonyi State, said the meeting sought to address the demands of the Biafra group. He added that the forum would engage the group leaders in its subsequent meetings to ensure all issues were resolved. A federal high court in Rivers State has remanded 9 foreigners and 2 Nigerians in prison for oil theft. The foreigners include 2 Pakistanis, 2 Ukrainians, 3 Ghanaians, and a man from Benin Republic, as well as an Indonesian. They were remanded pending arraignment and hearing on a 4-count charge bordering on conspiracy, dealing in petroleum products without a license, and tampering with oil pipelines. The matter has been adjourned till September 6, 2017. Tertiary institutions across Nigeria have released cut-off marks for the 2017 admission exercise into their respective schools. It comes barely a week after the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board (JAMB) reduced the cut-off marks for admission into Nigerian universities, polytechnics, College of Educations to 120. Even though the schools obeyed JAMB's directive by maintaining the examination body's approved cut-off marks, some say they will not admit students with scores below 200. JAMB's decision to reduce admission cutoff has generated mixed reactions, with some saying such action will damage the country's education sector.
We have had experiences where you admit students, especially the last admission, that's the 2015-16, you admit students on some parameters, and you discover that these students are not fit for the university system. But we have admitted them based on some parameters. After a semester, we see that more than 80% of them are not fit to be in the university. So definitely, if JAMB is taking this minimum cutoff mark to schools and giving it to schools, and schools are admitting based on that, then I will feel that whoever is going to teach those students will have a very, very tough assignment. I feel that what JAMB should have done is to segment, to say, well, some universities have proposed 120 as what they feel they can accept. Some other universities have their own set at 200, 220 or whatever. For such universities, JAMB can keep a record and say, because making it public, it's ridiculous. Unilag definitely will not take anything below 200. Definitely. We're sure about that. You know, the experiment of last academic session, like I said, didn't work, where students didn't take the post-UTME, they were admitted based on the criteria given then, and we have seen the result. So Unilag will not accept anything less than 200. Making it public that on an examination that the total score is 400, and you are bringing the minimum pass mark, so to speak, to 120, it doesn't speak well of your system.
Nigeria's anti-graft agency, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, says about 409 billion naira suspected to be proceeds of crime have been recovered by the agency between January and August 2017. Acting chairman of the EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, also revealed the commission had secured 137 court convictions within 8 months. He reassured Nigerians that the commission remains neutral in the fight against corruption, adding that he has no feud with anyone. The need to fight piracy in the creative industry has once more come to the fore. Nigeria Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele has identified the menace of piracy as a stumbling block to the growth and development of the industry. He was speaking when he hosted the stakeholders in the creative industry led by the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, in Abuja.
We need to start from the basics by seeing to it that we strengthen the piracy law so as to ensure that your entire revenue is captured. And there is a strong need to give that support so that we can grow the talents in our youths.
Taking giant steps to ensure that the revenue stream of creative actors are actually ensured. You remember, sir, that about a month ago, we had a seminar, international seminar on financing the creative industry. At the end of that seminar, which was presented by a dialogue with the stakeholders, it was agreed that we set up a task force that would address the issue of piracy in a manner that has never been addressed before. And I'm proud to let you know that we rose from that meeting and we met the IG. And the first thing the IG assured us was that it was going to set up an anti-piracy unit in each of its command and the FCT. He followed up also by nominating 3 high-ranking members of the police force, 2 DIGs and an ACP, as members of this anti-piracy committee. The committee has met, and during the meetings, for the first time in history, Alaba market, which up to now was thought to be impregnable, was raided twice within a few days. And the impact of that raid, I think, has sent shivers, to pirates.
The Nigerian government has approved over 1.1 trillion naira for the construction of the 3,050 megawatt Mambila Hydropower project at Jembu in Taraba. The Minister of Power Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, on Thursday revealed that the scope of works of the project will include the construction of 4 dams and 700 kilometers of transmission lines. The minister said the project, when completed, would boost the nation's economy and it would unleash the potential that had been reported about Mambila in the field of agriculture, tourism, and energy.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. 2 of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, so...
Oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no, you don't need to do this. We're only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Okay, which came up with this one now? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. It's time for business with Thelma Okuru.
Thank you, Fidelia. The naira remained range-bound against the US dollar as weak demand coupled with increased dollar supply from the CBN and other sources provide support for the local currency. The naira was quoted at 364 on the black market on Thursday, the same level a week ago. It traded at around 360 to the dollar for investors, but was stuck at 305.85 on the official market. Meanwhile, CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele says Forex will be provided for stakeholders in Nigeria's creative industry. He admits the industry remains one of the only sectors that could help promote the country's economy.
You are in a legitimate business. You are entitled to source Forex from the Nigerian foreign exchange market. And it's this way. It's a matter of your choice. Whether you want to source central bank's own funds, which comes at slightly lower price compared to the investors and exporters window, you are entitled to. Every week, some fund is allocated to the Central Bank of Nigeria under the wholesale secondary market intervention scheme. And there we insist that banks should allocate at least 20% of whatever they get to people who want to remit business money for invisible business. Yours, if you are remitting money for license, you are remitting money for whatever, it's invisible, Form A, you are entitled to it. Do you understand? Then, if alternatively you choose that you can't wait, you understand, and you want to pay a slightly higher rate, you can go to the investors and exporters window, and the banks should be able to provide you foreign exchange. Do you understand? Albeit at a slightly higher price, but at least you get the foreign exchange on spot. But to say that you are denied foreign exchange, it's not true, it's not possible, and I implore you to please report any bank that deprives you that opportunity.
Ethiopian Airlines says it has made a bid to the Nigerian government to take over Arik Air, Nigeria's biggest airline. Ethiopian Air is owned 100% by the Ethiopian government. In February this year, Arik Air was taken over by the Nigerian government due to the company's huge debt profile, which was over 300 billion naira. Ethiopia's managing director of international services says the company can manage Arik Air and is awaiting the response of the Nigerian government. Oil prices rose slightly on Thursday, clawing back some of the losses made a day earlier. Prices also rallied in the oil products market, with U.S. gasoline futures hitting a two-year high above $2 per barrel. Hurricane Harvey, which brought record flooding to the U.S. oil heartland of Texas and killed at least 35 people, has paralyzed at least 4.4 million barrels per day. The shutdowns also led the U.S. government to tap its strategic oil reserves for the first time in 5 years on Thursday, releasing 500,000 barrels of crude oil to a working refinery in Louisiana. That's all on business. More stories coming up. Don't go away.
Corruption not in my country.
That was a very good business. Yeah. The furniture you brought was very perfect.
That's how we roll.
Because let me do you receipts.
Yeah. How much was it again?
1 million naira.
Okay, write 2.5.
Mbano. The deal was for 1 million naira now.
Okay, write 3 million. I'll give you 500.
Oh no, I don't do business like that now. Yeah.
In that case, give me back my check. Let me go and look for one that understand business.
Take.
Your loss.
But it is only for incorruptible customers. What are you talking?
Now get out.
What kind of this?
You will just die.
No,
You will die.
That is the door. Now get out from here.
Rubbish.
Look, my people, make una only add money for original invoice price. That's not corruption. Say no, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Authorities are scrambling to rescue survivors from the rubble of a three-story building that collapsed in a working-class neighborhood of Mumbai. At least 19 people have been confirmed dead following the incident. The building collapse comes after heavy rains and flooding in Mumbai this week, which has killed at least 5 people. It's yet to be confirmed if the collapse was connected with the rainfall. Somali government officials on Thursday confirmed 10 civilians were killed in a joint U.S.-Somali raid. According to Somali officials, compensation will be paid to the families of the dead. U.S. Africa Command had confirmed the presence of U.S. troops in the raid, carried out under the expanded powers granted by Donald Trump to U.S. troops in Somalia. However, the U.S. officials have not publicly commented on the raid since Friday, when they said they were investigating reports of civilian casualties. The 20th meeting between Nigeria Super Eagles and Cameroon is almost ready. The game, which will be played at Nigeria's southern city of Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital, kicks off at 5 p.m. on Friday. Nigeria currently has 23 players in camp, including captain Mikel Obi, Chelsea's Victor Moses, and Leicester City's Kelechi Iheanacho.
As the World Cup qualifiers enter its final stages, Nigeria's Super Eagles have stepped up preparations for a place at football's biggest tournament. The Eagles will play Cameroon at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo, South Nigeria, in its third qualifying match. The team's preparation for the highly anticipated game hasn't been without any setback. Super Eagles goalkeeper Carl Ikeme bowed out of the game after being diagnosed with acute leukemia. The team suffered another blow when Alex Iwobi also pulled out of the squad. owing to a thigh injury. In the face of both setbacks, the team say they remain resilient. Highlighting the importance of the match, Super Eagles media officer Tony Bitoye assures the Eagles are ready to win.
It's a very crucial game. You are as good as qualifying for the World Cup if you win. And if you don't win, it's as good as saying no 2018 World Cup for you. So it's a very, very crucial game, not just because of the points, also because of the rivalry that exists between Nigeria and Cameroon. So it's a must-win game for us. The Eagles are ready. We have done our best, and we know we will have the luck of the day on September 1st. That's Friday, and then on September 4th, that's a Monday, when we play against Cameroon home and away.
I think this is one of the moments where it can work against Cameroon. Internally, there is a huge crisis. There is a response at this point in time from the Federation of International Football Association that will be running affairs, of football in the country, which means the Super Eagles have got, the advantage. But in Africa, we are used to this, so you can never tell where the biscuit will crack. But from the way things are going, I feel the Super Eagles have got the edge. Playing on home soil, having 6 points, psychologically going into that encounter, I think the Eagles have got the edge.
Leading the group by 4 points, the Super Eagles clearly have an upper hand against the indomitable Lions of Cameroon. Many Nigerian football supporters say they are sure of victory and a place in the World Cup tournament.
The only thing that will make them to get results, winning Cameroon or any team that will come before them, is for them to have a teamwork, team spirit.
Football is a game of either lose or winning. But I know what happened the last time about South Africa. It will now give them more experience and encourage what they did. They are wrong totally, but they can still win the match, I believe.
The players are playing variously they are playing individually in their various clubs. So if they can bring them together, let them play as one family. Let them play together, not playing as if I know what I want to play. I'm playing with you. That's just the spirit of football. Let the team work for them. That's all.
This will be the 20th meeting between the two sides. The Super Eagles will be hoping to continue their brilliant record over the Cameroonians. In 19 previous meetings, the Eagles had 11 victories, and Nigerians will be hoping for more of the same from the national team.
Meanwhile, NFF President Amaju Pinnick has charged the team to be committed to the upcoming match. Super Eagles coach General has already confirmed that Ifeanyi goalkeeper Ikechukwu Ezenwa will start the crucial World Cup qualifiers against Cameroon. Raw confirmed this at a pre-match press conference, where the Eagles also showed their support for ailing first choice Carl Ikeme. Takuma Asanso and Yosuke Ideguchi were on target as Japan beat Australia 2-0 at home Thursday to qualify for their 6th successive World Cup. Asano steered home a left-foot volley 4 minutes before halftime, and Ideguchi sealed the victory with a stunning long-range strike after 82 minutes as Japan became the fourth team to reach next year's finals in Russia. The World Cup kicks off June 2018. Well, that's all on news now. Thanks for watching. I am Fidelia Aguncha.